When I saw my husband secretly buying a luxury apartment for my sister, I thought I had lost my mind. But nothing prepared me for what I uncovered when I followed them inside. I never imagined my marriage would come to this. A web of secrets, paranoia, and betrayal. 7 years with Daniel, and I thought I knew him. I thought we had the kind of love that was steady, unshakable. But that illusion shattered the day I saw him signing papers for a luxury apartment, one that wasn't for us. It all started on a random Tuesday afternoon. I had just finished brunch with some friends when I spotted Daniel across the street. He was standing in front of an upscale high-rise building, talking to a sharply dressed real estate agent. My heart immediately skipped a beat. Why was he here? I knew Daniel's schedule by heart. He was supposed to be at work, buried in meetings, not inspecting a $1 million apartment in the city. I slipped behind a parked car, watching as he nodded at something the agent said, then signed a document. My stomach twisted when the agent handed him a set of keys. He bought a place? My mind raced with questions. Was this some kind of investment? A surprise for me? My birthday was months away, and even if he had planned something extravagant, why keep it a secret? Then, my phone buzzed. Sophia. Hey, can you send me some money? Just a little short this month. I promise I'll pay you back soon. My sister had been leaning on me financially for years, always needing just a little help to cover her rent, bills, or whatever latest whim she had. And yet, as I watched Daniel walk into that apartment building, a horrifying thought took root in my mind. I checked my banking app. Sophia had received a large deposit just last week. But not from me. From Daniel. I felt the blood drain from my face. No, it couldn't be. That night at dinner, I played it cool. I watched Daniel the way a detective watches a suspect. He was relaxed, scrolling through his phone, completely oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. So, I said, forcing a smile, how was work today? He didn't look up. Exhausting. Same meetings, different day. My fingers clenched around my fork. Liar. I took a deep breath. I ran into a real estate agent today. Said they just sold an apartment in the city. Crazy, right? Who even buys property like that? Daniel didn't flinch. Guess some people have too much money to burn. I stared at him, willing him to break, to look guilty. But he just kept eating, as if nothing had changed. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the weight of suspicion pressing down on my chest. What was he hiding? The next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. I followed my husband. I waited until his lunch break, pretending to be busy with errands. When he left his office, I stayed 3 cars behind, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. He wasn't heading to a business meeting. He wasn't meeting a friend. He was going back to that apartment. I parked a block away, my heart pounding as I walked toward the building. My breath caught when I saw him punch in a code at the entrance like he'd done it 100 times before. Then, the final blow. The door opened, and Sophia was standing there. She stepped aside, letting him in, and the door shut behind them. I felt my stomach turn. It's happening. It's really happening. My own husband. My own sister. A part of me wanted to run, to pretend I never saw it. Because if I confronted them, and it was true, if they were together, then what? What would be left of my life? But another part of me, the part burning with anger and betrayal, needed answers. I waited 10 minutes before slipping into the building, using the same entrance code I had just seen Daniel enter. I shouldn't have known it, but he had used my birth date. The irony made me want to scream. I climbed the stairs, my body trembling with adrenaline, until I reached the door. My hand hovered over the handle, ready to knock, to demand an explanation. But then I heard voices inside. Muffled. Intense. I pressed my ear to the door, trying to make sense of it. Daniel sounded frustrated. This isn't safe anymore. If she finds out, she won't. Sophia's voice cut in. I've been careful. You're the one acting nervous. You think this is a joke? Daniel hissed. You think this won't backfire? There was a pause. Then Sophia's voice. Softer now. I just need more time. More time? I pressed harder against the door, my pulse roaring in my ears. I did what I promised, Daniel continued. I got you the apartment. I got you the money. But we can't keep this going. If it slips, we're all in danger. Danger? I sucked in a breath. This wasn't some simple affair. This wasn't about cheating at all. What the hell was going on? I heard footsteps. Someone was walking toward the door. Panic seized me. I spun on my heel, darting down the hallway just as the lock clicked open. I didn't stop until I was safely inside my car, my hands shaking as I gripped the wheel. I had expected betrayal. I had expected the worst. But I hadn't expected this. Something was very, very wrong. And I was going to find out what. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them, Daniel and Sophia, standing in that apartment, whispering secrets I wasn't meant to hear. My mind spiraled into worst-case scenarios. At first, I had been convinced Daniel was having an affair with my sister, but now? The way they spoke, the fear in Daniel's voice, the mention of danger, it was something else entirely. And I needed to know what. The next morning, I waited until Daniel left for work. Then I called Sophia. She answered on the second ring, her voice casual, oblivious. Hey sis. What's up? I swallowed my anger. Can we meet for lunch? My treat. A pause. Oh, sure. That's a nice surprise. Everything okay? Fake concern. My fingers tightened around my phone. Yeah, I just miss you. I was getting good at lying. We met at a small cafe near her apartment. Sophia arrived 10 minutes late, as always. Dressed in a casual but expensive-looking outfit, far better than what she should have been able to afford. I fought to keep my face neutral. You look nice, I said. She grinned, flicking her long, dark hair over her shoulder. Thanks. Been doing a little shopping. I bet. We ordered coffee, and she talked about her latest job, which she had mysteriously quit last week. About some guy she had gone on a few dates with. I knew she was lying, about how I should loosen up and have more fun. I let her ramble, watching her closely, waiting for the right moment. Then, I struck. So, how's the new apartment? She froze mid-sip. It lasted half a second, but I caught it. What apartment? She said lightly. The audacity of her lie made my skin prickle. The one Daniel bought for you. The color drained from her face. Just like that, the mask slipped. She set her cup down too hard, forcing a smile. I don't know what you're talking about. I leaned in. Sophia, I saw you. I followed Daniel. I know everything. Her hands clenched in her lap. Emma, it's not. Don't lie to me. I cut her off, my voice sharper than I intended. Whatever's going on, I want the truth. Her eyes darted around the cafe, as if searching for an escape. I pushed forward. Is he cheating on me? Are you? Just say it. She flinched. But then she shook her head quickly. No. God, no. It's not that, I swear. I folded my arms. Then what is it? Sophia bit her lip, hesitating. Her whole body screamed nervous energy. Like a rabbit caught in a trap. She looked at me then, really looked at me. And for the first time, I saw something I never expected. Fear. This isn't about you, Emma, she whispered. You don't want to be involved. My stomach turned to ice. I grabbed her wrist. Too late for that. She shook her head. You don't understand. If I tell you, you could get hurt. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. Hurt by who? Sophia exhaled sharply, running a hand through her hair. I can't, she whispered. I need to go. She stood up, but I grabbed her arm, forcing her to meet my gaze. Sophia, you are my sister. If you're in trouble, I want to help. Her jaw clenched. She was warring with herself. Then, almost too softly to hear, it's already too late. Then she ripped herself free and bolted. I sat there, shaking, staring after her. What the hell was going on? I spent the rest of the day obsessing. Sophia's words haunted me. You don't want to be involved. It wasn't just Daniel keeping secrets. Sophia was afraid of something. I had to find out what. That night, I took the next step. I searched the apartment myself. It was past midnight when I parked outside Sophia's building. My hands trembled as I entered the code Daniel had used. My birth date. It worked. The apartment was beautiful. Sleek and modern, far too expensive for someone like Sophia. I moved carefully, my heartbeat hammering in my ears. What were they hiding? I started with her bedroom. The closet was filled with brand new clothes, expensive bags, high heels she never used before. My sister had been broke for years. Where did all this money come from? Then, something caught my eye. A small safe, hidden in the back of her closet. I yanked it out, heart pounding. It was locked with a keypad, but I already knew the code. Hands shaking, I punched in the same birth date. The safe clicked open. Inside, there were stacks of cash, a passport, and a thick folder of documents. I flipped the passport open. The name wasn't Sophia's. The photo was her. But the name was someone else entirely. What the? My breath caught in my throat. I flipped through the documents. Birth certificates. Adoption papers. One DNA test result. The world tilted. I read the result over and over again, my hands trembling. Sophia wasn't my sister. She was adopted. I heard a noise behind me. The front door clicked open. I barely had time to shove the papers back into the safe before I heard Daniel's voice. She knows. A rush of terror choked me. Sophia cursed under her breath. I backed into the wall as they stepped into the room, staring at me. You shouldn't have come here, Daniel said, his voice tight. Tell me the truth, I whispered. What the hell is going on? They exchanged glances. Then Daniel sighed, running a hand down his face. She's in danger, Emma, he said. And now, so are you. I stood frozen in Sophia's apartment, the open safe at my feet, my breath coming in shallow gasps. Daniel and Sophia stared at me, their expressions unreadable. The weight of my discovery pressed down on me like a boulder. You're in danger? I repeated, my voice barely above a whisper. What does that even mean? Daniel shut the door behind him and locked it. The click of the deadbolt sent a jolt of panic through me. I took a step back. Start talking. Now. Sophia swallowed, glancing at Daniel like she was waiting for permission. My husband, the man I thought I knew, the man who had been lying to me for months, nodded slightly. She exhaled shakily. Emma, I'm not who you think I am. I clenched my fists. Yeah, no kidding. I kicked the safe with the tip of my shoe. You're not my sister. You've been lying to me my entire life. Sophia flinched. I didn't know either, okay? Not until recently. The room spun around me. What? She sighed, rubbing her temples like she had the beginnings of a migraine. Mom and Dad weren't my biological parents. They adopted me when I was a baby. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. And they never told me? They never told me either, she admitted. I found out a few months ago when someone came looking for me. I stared at her, my pulse hammering in my ears. Who? Sophia hesitated, glancing at Daniel again. I snapped. Stop looking at him like he's your damn bodyguard, and answer me. She exhaled sharply. My biological father. A chill crept down my spine. Daniel spoke for the first time, his voice low. Your parents adopted Sophia under unusual circumstances. They never planned to tell her the truth, but her real father. He was just released from prison. The air left my lungs. Sophia sat down heavily on the bed, wringing her hands together. He was involved in dangerous things. Mom and Dad adopted me in secrecy. They were trying to protect me. I shook my head, trying to process the impossible. What kind of dangerous things? Daniel's jaw tightened. Organized crime. My stomach dropped. No, I whispered, shaking my head. That doesn't make sense. Sophia let out a humorless laugh. Trust me, I wish it didn't. I felt like I was going to be sick. So what? You think he's after you now? She nodded grimly. Not think. I know. Someone came looking for me a few months ago. A man in a suit. He found me at my old apartment. Said he worked for my biological father. He gave me an envelope of money. Said my father wanted to meet me. My legs felt weak. And you took it. Sophia looked away. I cursed under my breath. Oh my God, Sophia. I had to know, she snapped. I needed to understand where I came from. I pressed my hands to my temples, trying to stop my head from spinning. So you met him? She hesitated. Sophia. Yes. I let out a strangled laugh. Are you insane? Daniel stepped forward, his voice sharp. That's enough, Emma. I rounded on him. No, it's not enough. She met a criminal, her criminal father, and now she's being hunted. And you decided to just, what? Buy her an apartment and hope for the best. Daniel ran a hand down his face, looking exhausted. It's not that simple. Then make it simple, I spat. He sighed. When I found out what was happening, I knew she wasn't safe in her old place. Her father has people, connections. If he wanted to find her, he could. I narrowed my eyes. And how exactly do you know so much about this, Daniel? Silence. A new kind of unease settled over me. Daniel, I said carefully, what aren't you telling me? His gaze flickered. And suddenly I saw it, hesitation. He wasn't just protecting Sophia. He was protecting himself. I felt like I had been thrown into ice water. No, I whispered. You're not. Daniel. Tell me you're not involved with him. His silence was the only confirmation I needed. My hands started to shake. Oh my God. Emma, it's not what you think, he said quickly, stepping toward me. I stumbled back, my breath coming in short gasps. No, don't touch me. He stopped in his tracks, something pained flashing across his face. I turned to Sophia. And you knew? Her lower lip trembled. I only found out recently. I let out a bitter laugh. Right? Because that makes it better. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, looking frustrated. Emma, listen to me. The only reason I got involved was to keep Sophia safe. I thought if I could. A loud knock on the door cut him off. The room went dead silent. I barely had time to register what was happening before Sophia's face went pale. Oh no, she whispered. My blood turned to ice. The knock came again, louder this time. Daniel moved instantly, grabbing my wrist and pulling me behind him. Don't say a word, he muttered. Sophia hesitated, then slowly walked to the door. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. She cracked it open an inch. What do you want? A deep, gravelly voice replied. You know what I want. My body stiffened. Daniel tensed beside me. Sophia's fingers gripped the doorknob tightly. You shouldn't be here. The man let out a low chuckle. Come on, kid. Let's not make this difficult. I felt Daniel shift like he was about to do something reckless. I grabbed his arm, shaking my head. Sophia swallowed hard. Go away. A pause. Then, the man's voice turned ice cold. Tell your husband he's running out of time. The door clicked shut. The air was so thick. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My whole world was crumbling around me. I turned to Daniel, my voice shaking with rage and fear. What the hell did you do? His jaw clenched, and for the first time, I saw something in his eyes I had never seen before. Guilt. But beneath it, terror. The silence after the man left was suffocating. Daniel's face was pale, his lips pressed into a tight line. Sophia's hands were shaking, gripping the edge of the table like she needed to hold onto something solid to keep herself from falling apart. I, on the other hand, was done holding back. Someone tell me what the hell is going on. I demanded, my voice trembling with a mix of rage and fear. Who was that? What did he mean by running out of time? Daniel rubbed his face, exhaling slowly like he was calculating his next words. That alone made me furious. No more lies, I hissed. I swear to God, Daniel, if you don't start talking, I'll walk out that door and figure this out myself. His eyes snapped up to mine, something like desperation flickering in them. Emma, please. I stepped back, crossing my arms. Talk. He glanced at Sophia. She was staring at the ground. Her jaw clenched so tightly I thought she might crack a tooth. Fine, Daniel finally said, voice hoarse. But you're not going to like it. My fingers dug into my arms. I already don't like it. He took a breath. The man at the door, he works for Sophia's father. A cold chill crept down my spine. The one who just got out of prison, I murmured. Daniel nodded. His name is Victor Morelli. My breath hitched. Morelli? As in the Morelli crime family? Sophia flinched at the name, but Daniel's silence was confirmation enough. I felt like the floor had been ripped out from beneath me. Jesus Christ. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. Your parents didn't just adopt Sophia, Emma. They were given a new identity to hide her from him. I turned to Sophia, who looked like she was on the verge of breaking down. Why? I whispered. She let out a shaky breath. Because my mother, my biological mother, was trying to escape him. She knew what he was, what he did, and she didn't want me anywhere near that life. She ran, but he found her. The room went deathly quiet. I didn't need her to say the rest. If he had found her. And Sophia had been placed for adoption soon after. She was dead. Sophia looked away, like she could feel my thoughts. She never stood a chance. I swallowed the bile rising in my throat. Daniel's voice cut through the heavy silence. Victor was arrested not long after. He spent the last 25 years in prison. And now he's out, I murmured. Sophia nodded, her fingers digging into her palms. And he wants me back. My stomach twisted. Why? Daniel answered for her. Because she's his only heir. A sharp, bitter laugh burst from Sophia's lips. Isn't that ironic? The man who murdered my mother now suddenly wants to play dad. My hands clenched into fists. That's not going to happen. Sophia scoffed. You think I don't know that? The problem is, he doesn't take no for an answer. My pulse roared in my ears. This was so much worse than I had imagined. This wasn't just a crime boss looking to reconnect with his long-lost daughter. This was a dangerous man who was used to getting what he wanted, no matter the cost. He sent someone to find me months ago, Sophia admitted, voice hollow. At first, it was just letters, phone calls. I ignored them. Then he sent someone to my old apartment. I clenched my jaw. The man who gave you the money. She nodded. I turned it down at first, but he kept sending it. It was like he was trying to prove that I needed him. I told myself I'd just keep it, that it didn't mean anything. She let out a bitter laugh. But I should have known better. The second I accepted $1, I was in his pocket. Daniel's voice was tense. That's why I got her the apartment. I thought if she was somewhere safe, somewhere he couldn't find her, she'd be okay. I stared at him. You thought you could just buy your way out of this? Daniel's jaw tightened. I was trying to protect her. I let out a sharp breath. And what did he mean by, you're running out of time? Sophia and Daniel exchanged a look. My stomach sank. What else aren't you telling me? I demanded. Daniel hesitated, then exhaled slowly. I made a deal. Everything inside me froze. You what? Daniel ran a hand through his hair. Victor wanted proof that Sophia wasn't going to run. He wanted her to come to him willingly. I shook my head. No, tell me you didn't. I told him I'd convince her, Daniel admitted. Sophia's head snapped toward him. You what? Daniel held up a hand. I was buying time. If I said no outright, he would have sent someone after you, Sophia. I needed him to think I was on his side. I felt sick. So you're working for him now? Of course not. Daniel snapped. I just needed to keep him from forcing your hand. Sophia looked furious. And how long were you planning to lie to me about that? I wasn't lying, I was. A loud bang against the door cut him off. We all froze. Then a voice, deep, cold, unfamiliar. Sophia, open the door. My heart stopped beating. Daniel reached for something under his jacket. My breath hitched when I saw the gun. Stay behind me, he ordered, his voice deadly calm. My stomach twisted. What the hell is going on? Another bang on the door. We know you're in there, the voice called. Victor wants to see his daughter. I grabbed Sophia's arm. We have to go. She was pale, breathing fast. There's no way out. Daniel glanced around, his mind racing. Then his gaze landed on the fire escape. There. Sophia moved first, practically climbing over the furniture to reach the window. I scrambled after her, my hand shaking as I yanked it open. Daniel was last. The second he stepped out, the front door burst open. Run, he barked. We climbed down the metal stairs, my breath coming in short, panicked gasps. Behind us, I heard yelling footsteps storming into the apartment. I didn't stop. We hit the alleyway. Daniel pulling us toward his car. We barely made it in before tires screeched behind us. A black SUV rounded the corner. Daniel floored it. My heart slammed against my ribs as the SUV sped up behind us, headlights flashing. Oh my God, Sophia whispered. I gripped the door handle, my nails digging into the leather. We were being chased. And if Victor Morelli wanted my sister, he wasn't going to stop until he had her. Or until we were dead. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking Reddit cheating stories happening around you.